Welcome back. It's time for our health story of the day. Now, Ganpati is here and so are the modaks, the laddus and the sweets. But before you dive head first into the next festive treat, have you ever stopped to wonder, are your healthy sweeteners really healthy? There's brown sugar, there's jaggery, honey, stevia. Are they truly better for you or just sugar in disguise? Our next explainer will bring you science-backed breakdown of what's inside that sugar substitute, what these sweeteners do to your body, and even what WHO has warned us all about when it comes to sweeteners. Get ready because this is the Sugar Showdown, because festive season is here and your sweet tooth deserves the truth. Brown sugar, jaggery, honey, stevia, and now the latest, monk fruit. Before you fall for any sugar substitute thinking it's healthy, watch this video till the end. We will give you science-backed comparison of all sugar substitutes. What are the core ingredients? What is the health impact? And then our final verdict. But first, let's understand some basics on sugar. Now, if you thought any one kind of sugar was healthy, you are wrong. There is no healthy sugar. Honey and jaggery are still sugar. Your body treats them like sugar. FDA even counts syrups and honey as added sugar on their labels. Fructose as a sugar substitute isn't a free lunch, it's still sugar. In fact, WHO goes on to say in both adults and children, the intake of sugar should be reduced to less than 10% of the total energy intake. Meaning, WHO is not asking you to go off sugar. छोड़ने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Cancelling any food out of your system isn't wise. It's saying limit it. For health benefits, it's advised to in fact reduce sugar intake to below 5% of your total energy. What does this mean? This means roughly 25 grams of sugar in a day. That translates into 6 teaspoons. In fact, to quote them, they go on to say that nutritionally, people don't need any sugar in their diet at all. Having understood that, let's now get into what science has to say on sugar contenders. This is the Sugar Showdown. Number 1, table sugar. White sugar, brown sugar, pink sugar, they're all the same. They're made with 50% glucose, 50% fructose, bonded together actually. This means that excess intake raises your risk in terms of extra calories consumed. A major source of these are found in sugary drinks, in your desserts as well. Remember, WHO has capped free sugar to just about 50 grams a day, and that's also on the higher side. So the verdict here is minimize. It's not your sole driver of energy. Let's look at honey next. The core ingredient here is 80% carbohydrates, which means mostly fructose, glucose. 15 to 70% is water and tiny amounts of bioactives and antioxidants. But any antioxidant edge is negligible at real-world portions. Metabolically, it's sugar. The labeling is also counted as added sugar in your nutrition facts. Yes, it's flavorful, but not a healthier option at all. Let's look at another popular substitute, jaggery. The core ingredient here is unrefined non-centrifugal sugar from cane or palm. Predominantly, it's sucrose with very small amounts of minerals. The trace minerals don't offset the glycemic or caloric load and falls under free sugar to limit. Not a health upgrade over sugar at all. Next, let's look at options that are often termed under sugar-free, diet, zero-cal. Now, what does it have? The simple sugar in products is often appeared as high fructose corn syrup. It's called HFCS. commonly 42 or 55% still fructose. Doesn't prevent problems of excess sugar intake, liquid sugars, and strongly linked to overconsumption as well. The WHO guidelines targets all free sugars, not just sucrose. The verdict here is not advisable as a healthier replacement. Next, let's look at the very popular stevia. The core ingredient here is of course extracted from the leaves of the stevia plant. It contains the steviol glycosides, which are about 200 to 300 times sweeter than sugar. Virtually 0 calories per serving, doesn't rate blood sugar or insulin levels. It is not counted as sugar on FDA labels, but WHO still advises against it to manage weight or prevent diseases. The tricky detail here is that many stevia products on the market are not pure. They are blended with different other kinds of chemicals like dextrose, etc. So you've got to read the ingredient list very carefully. The verdict here is it is acceptable in small amounts, but don't use it as a license to over-sweeten your diet. And then it's the new kid on the block, monk fruit. The core ingredient here, again extracted from a fruit, it's 150 to 250 times sweeter than sugar, so only tiny amounts are used. Again, not counted as sugar, very low or no calories per serving used, doesn't add to sugar grams. But remember, even the WHO recommends not using non-sugar sweeteners to control your body weight or reduce the NCD risk. The tricky part here again remains that some of the labels blend it and they don't really tell you about it, so you've got to be careful of where you're sourcing your monk sugar from. In fact, the verdict here is it tastes even better than stevia. But again, it has to be used in moderation, not a magic bullet. So, which is the healthiest? Well, if you must add sweetness, then a tiny amount of pure monk fruit or stevia beats sugar, honey, jaggery, fructose at all levels. But don't rely on any sweetener, natural or artificial, to manage weight or protect against any disease. Even WHO explicitly advises against that strategy. The real win? Training your palate down and cutting total sweetness. Not just in your tea or coffee, but everything else you might even not realize you're having, which is sugar-loaded. From the harmless looking cola at lunch to the mithai box getting passed around at work, sugar sneaks into our diets far more than we think. Sauces, packaged snacks, healthy drinks so-called, even breakfast cereal, they all add up to your sugar intake. And remember, sugar intake matters even if you're not a diabetic. Our bodies, which work tirelessly for us, deserve better. So here's to the best drink your body actually needs. Just a glass of water. To good health and a sweeter life that isn't sugar-loaded. Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor for India Today. All right, I don't want to be a buzzkill here to everybody watching this right now and has a sweet tooth. We are not saying that all sugar is poison. We are not saying that you should just ban sugar altogether. We are saying moderate it and importantly bring your palate of having sugar cravings actually down. To talk to us a little bit more about that, we've got Suman Agarwal, founder of Self-Care by Suman Nutritionist. She's also the author of books Unjunked and Super Kids. Also with us is Rohan Sehgal. He's the creator of Sugar Spike Show. Now Rohan is famous as being the guy who tests his sugar spike after every food that he consumes. He's using his body as an experiment, has a lot of insights on what actually spikes your glucose levels. And a lot of times, the culprits are hidden. You don't even realize they have so much of sugar. So let me give the first word to Suman Agarwal. Then Suman, it's very interesting how people think that मैं तो फीकी चाय पीता हूँ. I don't use sugar at all. Or people who say कि मैं तो जी मिठाई मैंने छोड़ दी है. But even they don't realize that how sugar is sort of wolfed in, itself in different forms and different food items and is in your kitchen, on your plate without you realizing it at all. Could you name a few of these dishes for us which have sort of taken you off guard as well when your clients brought it up to you?
Yeah, Sonal. So I mostly hear, oh, have given up sugar in my tea, coffee, but they definitely had that sugar-free date mithai. They will
Yeah.
go for that. Then they will always have like a cake which is made with orange juice. So they're trying to tell themselves that they're not having any sugar, or they'll have plate full of fruits, which is fructose. So this is
Mm,
my debate with every client in the same manner that your brain does not get tricked because it needs that little bit sugar if you have taken it from childhood. But if you
mm,
don't take it from young age, then
mm,
your palate does not want it, or as you said that they have to train the palate to bring the sugar requirement down instead of
mm,
having with every meal, bring it down to maybe just maybe a cup of tea, coffee with little
mm,
sugar. As you mentioned,
mm.
5% is also according to me more. What a person
Ah.
should do is
Mm,
max 2 teaspoons of sugar, jaggery, honey, date, etc. And they should never cross this two teaspoon rule. That will
mm,
control their desire to have desserts or in form of chocolates, etc. And
mm,
they can lead a healthy life without diabetes, PCOS,
mm,
insulin resistance,
mm,
which everything comes with that, obesity.
mm.
So
Yeah.
that is my thumb rule. But if someone wants to give up sugar completely in every form, which is
Mm,
ketchup and syrups and honey and jaggery and desserts,
mm,
and
mm,
they should completely give it up. It takes your body or your palate 40 days to train. And after
mm.
40 days, your requirement for sugar or the desire for sugar goes down. So
Right.
that's what is.
You know, a lot of people have not realized what Suman has just said. She's quietly slid in the issue of even fruits being fructose and even fruits adding to sugar. So let me bring in Rohan on this one. Rohan, have you tried fruits and what is it doing to your glucometer?
No, absolutely. I could not agree more. And, before I say anything, I'm not a medical professional, nor am I diabetic,
Mm,
but I was so concerned with all this news on, how sugar is in everything. I had to
mm,
do a fruit series. And you'll be
mm.
surprised. I'll give an example. A fruit like lychee had spiked my blood sugar levels more than a can of Coke, a 300 ml can of Coke. So it's not like,
Wow.
she's absolutely right. Just because it's sugar in the form of fructose, it doesn't mean anything. Sugar, is sugar.
Right. But then how are we supposed to consume fruit, Suman? It's great. It's a great source of different vitamins and minerals in our body. How are we supposed to, what is the right way to consume fruits then?
This is one whenever I go on internet or Instagram and say about fruits, that worst time to have fruits is empty stomach because it really spikes up your sugar because it is absorbed in your blood immediately. So it
Hmm.
increases your chances of insulin resistant diabetes and many other issues. The best time to
Hmm.
have fruits would be immediately after a meal, which is of course balanced with protein, fat, carbs, and fiber, which are macros, so that
Yeah.
your sugar spikes are as it is low. And if you have a little
So then,
fruit in.
then your fruit becomes your dessert in a way, a replacement of your dessert.
And there are certain fruit which are low on glycemic index, which has
Hmm.
soluble fiber like apple, pear, pomegranate, guava. So including those fruits which are low on glycemic index, plus dragon fruit, cherry, strawberry, oranges are all low
Hmm.
on glycemic. Every other fruit, like especially for diabetics, they ask me, can I have papita? I said, no, papaya is very high in sugar.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
choosing the fruits which are low in GI is better.
Hmm. Right. Rohan, what has been your experience with monk fruit?
Well, I was curious about all these sweeteners that you mentioned in your introduction, and
Hmm.
what I found. So I added all these sweeteners to tea, and I found that white sugar, brown sugar, honey, gourd all gave similar results. So it was slightly disappointing, but it is what it is. But yes, calorie-free sweeteners like stevia and monk fruit, they did not give me a sugar spike. It was equivalent to having tea without sugar.
Oh, and compared to stevia and monk fruit, since I tried both as a way of research, actually monk fruit comes closer to the taste of sugar, while stevia still tastes a little artificial on the palate. But Rohan, what has been your biggest surprise in understanding glucose spikes? What food item really got you thinking, oh my God, I did not think this would spike my blood sugar?
I mean, since we're on the subject, fruits were truly shocking for me. I mean, I could
Hmm.
not believe that certain fruits that I've grown up having are spiking sugar levels as much as desserts because they're pure sugar. And from
Hmm.
my experiments, I found that anything that has just simple sugar and nothing else is
Hmm.
just terrible for blood sugar. And absolutely, and pairing it, I'll give you
Hmm.
a simple example. When I had lychees on their own, they had
Hmm.
given me a very high sugar spike, But when I had them after a meal as dessert, the spike got cut down to 1/3. That's a 66% reduction in my personal case. So that was absolutely, a stunning discovery for myself.
Right. Suman, but we are in midst of the festival season just kicking in. A lot of people are going to say that this is the latest fad. There was a time when I was growing up, ghee was the problem, and now when my child is growing up, sugar is the problem. These things have a way of evolving as we go. But what is the science here? अगर a festivals हैं, एक मोदक खाना है, how do you limit yourself? What is the right way then to consume in moderation at least?
I tell always that even if you have to have a dessert, make sure it has the right fat. Like our Indian mithais, like almond or pista or kaju, the modaks made out of those, okay, will still spike your sugar lesser than having any dessert which is made with pure sugar and flour, like wheat modak, the churma modak, etc. They still spike your sugar more. Or having the besan ka modak, besan laddu. So those will spike lesser, and having maximum a modak which is not more than 15 to 20 gram a day is fine. But everyone seeing the kind of life we live, we need to limit our desserts intake in no
Yeah.
matter what. So having what
Yeah.
like a small, like modaks are made small, which fits in your palm and only one in a day, and which is not more than 20 grams, we should do the trick because 20 grams will finally give you the calorific value between 80 to 110. That's all, which you can manage,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, imagine
And
going to a mithai wala and saying 20 gram. I think that's not going to happen. So you will have to sort of
oh no,
make
I'm
those
telling you,
make those
I
things at home and ensure that you're doing it the right way. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so what happened? I see the size of desserts. All these years have been seeing I'm from Calcutta. So it is always intriguing for me to make a mithai which is low in calorie. And so I made my own brand of mishta because of this, where the mithai is just 20 grams or 15 grams. And it has
Yeah.
worked like it does not like it satisfies your craving at the same time, it gives you all the goodness. And so but there are 20-gram mithais available. Once you go, modaks are available in 20 or 15 grams, in fact in outside.
Right. Right.
One just has
Last
to
question then, Rohan, what is your go-to? When you want that little sweet, but you don't want a glucose spike, what are you going for?
I mean, to be very honest, it's a losing battle. I don't think there's anything that exists which is sweet, which will satisfy me, which will not give me a spike. So all I try to do it is not try and not do it every day, so that once in a while when I do it, I at least, it satisfies my desires.
That's not a bad way to look at it as well. I think for me, that's jalebi. I'm a very UP girl that way, that every time that happens, I cannot. But then I tell myself that it's going to happen at the end of the meal. It'll happen in a small portion, and it'll happen that one time in a week. But like I said, a lot of people are going to be like, stop being a spoiler for all the festive season. Well, our job is to bring the right information to you. The rest is your call. On that note, Suman, and thank you so much for joining us over there.